Good evening, everyone. Being after 6 o'clock, we'll call the Coos Bay City Council meeting to order. Would you all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. First, we have two counselors that are on virtually. We have Carmen Matthews and Sarah Stevens that are virtual this evening. Next item on the agenda is public comments, and there's a disclaimer I need to read. And it says the public comment period is intended for the public to share ideas and concerns. It is not intended for any interaction discussion with the council. There may be opportunities for the public comments during the specific agenda items that require public hearing. Members of the public are requested to confine their remarks to questions or issues under discussion during this time. During any designated comment period, individuals shall not engage in personal attacks, shall not impugn the motives of any speaker, and shall at all times while in session conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. No person shall make personal, impertinent, slanderous, or unauthorized remarks or become boisterous while addressing the council. So we have a list, and we have one person that had submitted public testimony. Besides these, if anyone else wants to speak, they're more than welcome to. First one is Clinton. Is there a... good evening. Come on up, Clinton. How are you this evening?
Doing great, thank you.
Good.
Okay.
So just give us your name, your address. Not address. What city you reside in?
Okay. Good evening, Mayor Benetti and members of the council. My name is Clinton Harold. I am a resident of North Bend. I am here because our cities are tied at the hip, and when you neglect an $81.4 million wastewater system that this entire region relies on, your failure becomes my problem. Your newly proposed $80.5 million budget is a masterclass in institutional neglect. In your urban renewal districts, projected revenues have climbed over $3 million this year. You continue to authorize massive intergovernmental transfers for downtown and Empire projects between your $750,000 Front Street blueprint and the constant shuffle for undefined capital projects. You are prioritizing millions for cosmetics while the actual city core is vacant and commercially stagnant. That is $133.69 polished tax on every citizen just to put lipstick on empty storefronts. And let's talk about where that money should be going. While you magically find $150,000 for City Hall interior upgrades, you eliminated the community grants program, stripping local nonprofits of funding to focus on municipal service delivery. What is the service we're getting? We're facing a state-mandated wastewater crisis that requires nearly $81.4 million in long-term fixes. That is a hidden debt of over $5,182 for every citizen in this room. You are charging every family here $85.57 a month just to flush their toilets. Yet you've ignored the infrastructure so long that the fix now costs 10% of the average household's annual income. The height of this delusion is the $24 million long-term investment you just completed on the Ivy Avenue plant. You are pouring tens of millions into a site that climate data shows will be a tide pool in less than 20 years. You are literally sinking our future into the mud while our actual neighbors go without support because you needed that money for facade improvements. You aren't managing a city, you're managing a funeral and asking us to pay for the expensive flowers. You're polishing the brass on a sinking ship, planning digital kiosks for a boardwalk that the ocean is already reclaiming. This budget is a receipt for managed decline. I'm going back to my cabin to watch the show. Enjoy the decline.
Thank you. So when you reference neighbors, what are you referring to? Okay. Well, I'm going to make a few comments. First of all, I'm a supporter of urban renewal, and he's opposed to it, obviously. So urban renewal dollars come from, if we eliminate urban renewal, it would go back to the state. Do we know how much would go back to the state if we eliminate urban renewal?
In regards to like state, are you speaking to state school funds?
Yes. So it would be...
So there's, I believe the school district would receive about $700,000 of our, they're our second largest jurisdiction.
So they get the largest tax break. And so what happens is if we eliminated it, those funds would go back to the state. They wouldn't be here locally. We're able to control those local funds, those urban renewal funds, and as Clinton stated, putting lipstick on whatever. So for instance, Coos Bay Village was a $26 million investment and increase to our tax revenue. We wouldn't have that if we didn't utilize urban renewal. And also, there's other ones out in Empire. So yes, we are fixing up the facades and trying to attract businesses, and I will continue to support that. I'm not sure how my fellow councilors feel, but I've been an advocate ever since I got reelected in 2016, even prior to that. So it's a benefit for us. On the wastewater, we are mandated to keep our wastewater. It's expensive, it is, and we haven't been ignoring it, at least since 2016. 2016, our first action was, as mayor and the councilors, Stephanie and Lucinda here, we went ahead and voted to go ahead and move forward on a new treatment plant in Empire for $26 million. It was needed to be done. DEQ was going to mandating that we do it. If we did not do it, DEQ will not let us issue any building permits. And so therefore, it starts to shut down our business and commercials and any development that we may have. So I think we've done an excellent job. Yes, it's expensive, but yes, we need to do it. Also, by doing this, we're also making sure the bay is cleaner and continue on. You know, I don't know what the other answer would be besides these situations. I know it's frustrating for all of us. It's not inexpensive, but it's something that we have to do. And if we don't do it, then we don't have infrastructure, we don't have businesses coming here, and we don't have development. Anyone else want to chime in, or did I cover it? Okay.
I think you covered it, but I think it's important to note that we are unique in Oregon for a city our size, and our topography requires 2 wastewater treatment plants, not 1, which would be the normal. And we have, 90 miles of pipe under the ground, 26 pump stations that have to get the stuff from your home when you flush the toilet to the wastewater treatment plant. And all of that is on aging infrastructure that has been maintained very well to do its job beyond what it was expected to do. And I know what you said is we understand, but I think it's important to note that there are some unique things that we have here in the city, and it is not cheap.
And, you know, we're not any different than the other cities up and down the coast. If you do an average, we're pretty competitive. And I hate to say competitive, but we're in the range of what others cost. North Bend is lower, but they're going to be going through an analysis, and they have to do a wastewater upgrade for certain reasons. And so we'll all be in the same type of cost. The other thing I would advocate anyone, we have a budget meeting on this Thursday. Please, anyone got a question about our budget, come to the budget meeting. If you don't want to come to the budget meeting, contact myself. We'll sit down with our finance director and our city manager, and we'll go over it by line item. I'll be glad to explain anything that we have on the budget and why where we're at. If you got a better idea and a suggestion, I'm all for it. And if we can implement it, we will. So anyway, there we go. Yes?
I'd second that. May I say a few words? I would like to say that I share and understand Clinton's frustration, and I think it's all our frustrations. But what I will say is, if on the outside you just see the large bulk number that the city government or the state government has, and you're not on the inside, and it's difficult to understand the strings that are attached to each one of those funds. So, like they were talking about the URA, it's not like we just have a general fund where we can move money around to wherever we need it to go. A lot of the money that the city, counties, and state gets has strings attached where it has to be used for certain things. Otherwise, you don't get it, and it goes back. So while that can be very frustrating, it's frustrating for us too. And so I would also make a contention that the infrastructure was not being neglected. The cities knew they needed to raise the rates to maintain those the lines and infrastructure, but they also knew they weren't able to raise the rates because people couldn't afford them. But we've gotten to a critical point where they had to do something. And I suppose part of the URA, part of the solve, the internal solve, is if we can grow our economic community, then we'll have more resources to fix those and have more funds to maintain them. So I think it's kind of it's all sort of intertwined while we're trying to grow our economic footprint. We're using those funds that are dedicated to that to help us move that forward, at the same time trying to maintain the infrastructure that we have with the funds that they do have available to them. So until we have more of a larger tax base, that's going to be a continual struggle, and the burden, that large burden, falls on fewer of us, and it is frustrating. So
Carmen, you had a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge the comment about the wastewater treatment plant being in a flood zone. The wastewater treatment plant was built within current standards and within the designated area that was allowable. Also, it has to be closer to sea level because pumping effluent up to a uphill is more costly. So that, all of these things they come with a lot of thought and a lot of design, a lot of engineering, and I understand the frustrations as well. But please understand that there's a lot of really smart people doing really good work to make decisions for all of us so that we have a healthy community, and we're always going to try, but it does cost money, and I totally share the frustrations. Things cost so much, but believe me, we are really trying. That's all I have.
All right, thanks, Carmen. Anyone else? All right, next item, excuse me, next public comment person is Christopher. How are you this evening, Chris?
Hello. Thank you, everybody. Try to be concise here. My name is Christopher Liga. I work for and own Fars Hardware. Been there 27 years. I'm just a little concerned about rumors that I've been hearing, and I wanted to just speak up. I don't know to what capacity the city council has for navigating the situation, but I'm coming from a place of a business owner, a retail world, and I wanted to place a seed of thought for you guys to think about the future long term. We talk about business and income and tax revenue, and yeah, we want a big box store to come in because it's going to generate this, but I wanted to speak up about what it's going to do to a lot of other people. So I don't know what you guys could do about it, but if you could just think about it, because there's more people that are going to come up and follow me as I talk around town. If I put myself in your shoes, you're trying to do what's best for the community as a whole, and I understand that. Coming from a retail world, I'm talking about Home Depot buying the Cascade property. And again, I don't know what you guys could do about it, but along the lines, as I learn more about it, I feel like I've looked at of how I operate the hardware store and the risks I take as like a piece of a pie. And as other stores like Tractor Supply come in, recently, I see, the pie, I lose a piece, but the pie's growing. Our community is growing. Home Depot is going to eat that whole pie. It's going to be too big of a change. You're going to lose local, evolved culture. Fars has been there 109 years. I've talked with other business owners, and we're scared. You're looking at the flavor of your community, and when things change too much, it's going to affect things that you don't realize. Like, imagine in a year, 2 years, tourism, people are going to drive through here, and they're going to see shuttered stores. They're like, what happened to Coos Bay? Oh, there's a Home Depot, but they don't know the backstory that it changed so many stores. And I've been talking around town, and I'm going to mention some stores just to show you how broad it is. And they don't necessarily, I didn't ask them if I could say it, but it's just my opinion. This is going to affect paint stores like Bayshore Paint, Sherwin-Williams. It's going to affect Perry's. I talked with them today. There's Coast Flooring, Knutson's Carpet Hut, Midwest Flooring, Modern Floors. We have a local Seacoast Compost. They have a local nursery. L&L Lumber, Coos Head Builders, Builders First Source. I talked with them today. There's a Harbor Freight tool store, Ace Hardware. All these people. This is going to take all of our pie. And of course, Fars Hardware. So thank you for your time. I hope you consider the long-term consequences. And if you could do anything about it, thank you.
So, Chris, I totally feel for you, and I understand your concern. There's no doubt about it. We don't know if that's definitely going to happen, but that's the rumor, that Home Depot is going to take over Cascade Farms. The city even looked at trying to participate in buying it for our city shops. And so I know there were some other ones also interested. And I had a developer call me and said to me, it was Gold Beach Lumber wanted to go there. And he called me up and asked me if there's anything we could do because all of their bids were rejected. And I said, there really isn't anything we could do because We can't, unfortunately, and I'll have Chelsea, our planner, get in, community development developer, get in and tell you why. But here's another example. Planet Fitness came in, and it crushed downtown health and fitness and coastal fitness, area athletic clubs. There's nothing we can do about it because of the laws that are in place. I mean, I guess at some point in time in the back, years ago, we could have maybe done something about it, and we can ask Chelsea about it, put things in place to stop, like Walmart and some other ones, these big places. I know that some of those restrictions have been in there, but they can come in on a smaller scale still, I believe. So our hands are tied in a lot of this. And all the businesses you mentioned will definitely be affected. And if any of them go away, I'll be devastated. You guys have been around here. I've been here for 46 years, and you've been here as long as I have. We've been longer, obviously. And so, yes, it would be a detriment. It would be horrible. But anyway, with all that said, Chelsea?
Can I also say, we've heard Home Depot wanting to come in this community exactly twice. And they pulled out of the city of Coos Bay, and they pulled their deal with the Coquille Indian tribe. So it's a rumor right now, and we have, given where the state of the economy is, we have no idea if they are coming, and I couldn't agree more. Focusing on our smaller businesses is what makes this community vibrant, and I'm very empathetic to your words. Thanks.
So can you clarify for us, Chelsea, the situation about being able to restrict someone like Home Depot or somebody else?
Yeah, so the city has to implement zoning standards. So you have your commercial districts, your residential districts, and in those districts we've adopted certain permitted uses. And so we can't really tell a private property owner, once you've adopted those uses, no, you can't do that. A way maybe that the city could regulate that is by regulating the size of a commercial building, but that would apply to everybody, and so it would affect the small business owners just as much as the large business owners. So as it stands today, if you're in a commercial zone and a private property owner wants to sell their property to the highest bidder, and that happens to be somebody like a big box store like Home Depot, there's not too much the city can do to stop that.
So, I mean, theoretically, could we restrict Home Depot and
call them out and say Home Depot can't come here? I mean, I think that's a good legal question. I think there would be some grounds for appeal to just single out a single business. It's a new thing. I wouldn't really know. I haven't seen that done before.
And the only other places I know, Chris, with LOC, League of Oregon Cities, when this discussion has come up, there's been legal challenges, and they will usually win in the legal challenge because we're being specific and saying, somebody else like yourself can have a facility, but they can't. And so that's where the legalities come. I think in the past I've heard about big box stores being able to be limited, but I don't think they've fared too well in the city, so it just is an expense. I totally understand where you're coming from, believe me. Remember, I had a small business, I had a restaurant, and there was always talk about other restaurants coming in that I know would have impacted me, and it would have been unfortunate if they would have, but it hadn't happened, so I totally get it. But I'm willing to sit down and talk to you about this more. We can look into it. I'd be glad to do whatever we can think about doing, because I definitely would affect all the businesses like that. So the next individual would be on the list is Christina. Hi, Christina. How are you?
Well,
probably not, right?
No.
Circumstances, I understand, but go ahead, please.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Christina Bloom. My husband and I are the new owners of Perry's Supply as of January 2025. And yeah, I'm here to support Chris and all the other small businesses that have been here for 100 years or more. I know Perry's has been around since 1962. It's always been a family-owned business. We're the fourth family. The former owners, actually, my husband worked with and was friends with up in Portland before they came down, and we opened it after it closed. And the way the community has just responded to always hearing, oh, I'm so glad they're back open. Oh, so glad you took it over, has been a huge testament to us understanding kind of the resource it is to the community and how so many families tell us they grew up going there, that's their place. It's kind of like a little epic center in the small town. And as Clinton well said, we're the same county, we hit shoulders economically. We're the little guy compared to FARS, but there's a place for all of us in that family-owned business community, and we go out of our way to make sure we shop at the family businesses in the area versus the convenience of, all the other options that you could do. And so we do hope that you would consider strongly, not just superficially or artificially, or we don't believe there are smart people making good decisions. We believe we're smart people, reminding you that you work for us and you're supposed to put your community first, like your sign says out there, and that we don't just sell hospitals because that might be the fiscal easy thing to do. We don't just bring in big box realtors because we think, oh, we need to generate some money in our city. We rally together and make sure we can trust each other and our good neighbors, not bad neighbors, not having discussions under the table secretly, and now because the rumors can't be ignored anymore, you have to address it in some form. I went back and read city council meeting notes for the last year, and I didn't see anything about Cascade. And yeah, Bimart went public in January of this year of saying they were closing all their Cascade farms. But who in the economic development side of things was already kind of talking with those business people or had some inkling? I know I've been asking since January, since I started hearing the rumors. I called the county. I think I talked to you, Nicole. Are any permits been filed? What do you know? We're hearing rumors. We just want to be prepared. No one's been forthcoming or transparent about even the consideration that it could possibly go in there. So that's what's disturbing to me. I would hope the community would be more forthcoming with the way they're presenting that. As small businesses, over the last 2 years, we've already been recovering from tariffs. We've already been recovering from our own governor attacking us with more taxes and the ways they're specifically targeting small businesses in our agricultural area. So as a rural community, we're seeing everything, the walls closing in on us. And one of the things maybe you can do is, let's all sit down, small businesses, with you, Mayor. And as you work to attract businesses, as you said earlier, to community by beautifying things, we call it I'm an architect is my background. And one of the things I learned when I talked to Bruce at the county was that, a lot of architects have retired or moved away. A lot of small businesses have been recovering since 2020 still. My husband and I, we've put a lot of money into revitalizing the Pulse just on Broadway and with Perry's, just to put some life back into things so people feel re-inspired. And although there might be some residents that are excited maybe about a Home Depot and the fun that can bring and ease, they deliver for free if anyone orders online anyway. So they're already somewhat of a presence and of a competitive. To let them come in and just kind of swoop in and really potentially harm all the small businesses is concerning. And so, let's find a way we can talk and maybe be at the table and put some terms, maybe not let them do their game that we know of where they super lowball prices to close everybody out and then raise them up because they're the only outfit in town. We've seen people survive with Fred Meyer and Safeway and Walmart being in. So there's a survival instinct with this community, but it should be an economic decision that saves families. I know we employ over 12 in the community, and every day we get asked for donations, and we give. So we're here to serve, and we want to see the community thrive and survive, not just barely come back. So let's see if I hit everything. I think so. So thank you.
Steve, so transparency. We wouldn't know about it. I don't know if you talked to Nicole. We don't know about it until they apply for a business license, and they have not applied for a business license as of yet. So, as Councilor DeNovo mentioned, it's a rumor, and I've heard it multiple times. And the developer I talked about, Gold Beach Lumber, I asked him, did he know for sure? And he says nothing's for sure, but that's what he heard also. So we don't know because they haven't applied. I am willing to sit down and talk to you anytime. So my phone number is on the website, or you can get hold of Nicole, and we'll set up a meeting. I'll sit down and talk to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because I've been asking around, and people that I thought would know something, and no one's either admitting it or they really don't know. So I don't know if it's an intentional effort to do the deal under the table, outside of even your purview, but to be leaders in the community and have no knowledge. It was a little far-fetched to me. One of the things that you mentioned, that if I understand there were terms that can be considered with how it comes in on a smaller scale, if it's going to fit into the Cascade property.
Yeah, so that's going back, and we have to do some legalities and look into it. My understanding is that was only done in a few areas, but they were sued, and so I'm not sure how the outcome was. Big box stores are not going to sit down and just take it. So they're going to sue the cities, and it's going to be an expense. And before we go down that road, we'd have to know some kind of idea where we're going to be. But truthfully, the knowledge of this is only what I've heard. But I'm glad to sit down and discuss this with you and Chris and anyone else. So we'll be glad to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And welcome.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
if I could, I just wanted to say, I sat across from the building at KDOC for 26 years, and I appreciate the investment you're making in the building. I drove by the other day and saw that's going to be exciting. But I do want to address the transparency thing. You know, there are definite rules that we have to follow when it comes to transparency. And I hate it, having been in the news business for 30 years, being the last to know about something. But I am in the same seat that a lot of you are, that you have addressed today. They're rumors. We're hearing all kinds of things. There's no backdoor deals that are being made by the city that I've been a part of, and I just can't imagine this council doing anything. I mean, we're hearing things, but they're rumors, and I just want to make sure that we understand that businesses like yours have been the fabric of this community, that have been the foundation that this community is built upon. And, you know, I see the passion and the emotion, and I ran a small business as well, so I completely understand in a highly, highly competitive market when it came to radio stations. There were 14 signals, and then all of a sudden translators made that, you know, double. And we're competing for the dollars that helped run those businesses. So I understand. But again, no backdoor deals, no conversations other than just what we're hearing, and that's all I can say.
I agree with everything that's been said. I do think here we are, and you have brought this to our attention, and you're asking us to do something. And I think what Mayor Bonetti is saying is we're willing to sit down and talk to you. I'm hoping you're also hearing that there are no backdoor deals. We are being as transparent as possible. And I don't know if it would help in this instance, but I guess I would challenge Chelsea and team to consider the type of businesses that do come in. Do we have the ability to have, I'm asking, I don't know, right? Can we limit, right? Like what they were talking about. Can we make them smaller? I don't know in this instance because we've heard the piece of property has already been purchased. But going forward, knowing that we have a number of example hardware stores in this community, is there a way to limit the number of hardware stores or something like it? Have you seen that in other cities, I guess would be my question.
I have not seen it separate from limiting the scale of a building, which maybe then would not be desirable to a big box store.
Okay.
But I can work with Nate, our city attorney, and DLCD and ask some questions about what that might look like.
Yeah, and I don't know if Nate would be the right one to ask, and because I'm not sure how much expertise he would have in this, I would suggest League of Oregon Cities. Talk to Patty Mulville. She's been an attorney, and she has some resources that she can check into and see what other cities in the state have or have not done, and give some information.
Okay.
Okay?
I also think we want to be careful as a governing body that we don't, I mean, I hear it all the time, government overreach, and I think we need to be cautious as we proceed down this road because, you know, sometimes property owners want us to do something about property when it comes to residential, and they're okay with it when it's something negative that's affecting them, you know, across the street, but they don't want us going in and providing that type of oversight and overreach when it comes to their property. So we need to be very cautious as we walk this path.
I don't disagree with that, Councilor Kilmer, but we also put a moratorium on storage facilities. So I think, again, I don't know if we can do that here in this moment, but what stops us from putting a moratorium on these types of facilities going forward? So I understand overreach, and I think having the conversation is always good, and finding out what we can and can't do is always good, and then taking all that information to make the best informed decision, I think, is what this council should do.
I didn't say that. I said we need to be cautious when we walk this path, and also I do want to state that a moratorium is not a total end to something. It has a timeline when it has to be dealt with.
So what we're going to do, and I appreciate Chelsea, get the information. Once we have the information, then we can share that information and let you know what the status is. And then if there's any availability for the council, then that's a discussion the council can have, and we can go from there. But anyway, but for that though, feel free to sit down with me. As soon as I get the information from Chelsea, I'll be glad to contact both of you, and we can sit down with anyone else. Okay? Thank you. All right. Thanks for coming. And like I said, my number's on the website. Feel free to call me anytime. All right? Okay. All right. Any other public comments? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on. Next item on the agenda is a presentation, the semi-annual presentation by the Coos Bay Downtown Association. Who's going to do it? Beth, Steve, anyone else?
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay. Who's controlling that? Me? You? Okay. No, I can just give you the sign.
We're going to let that pass since you've been running around all day long like a chicken with your head cut off.
I know. Well, I know. My name is Beth, and I am the president of the Coos Bay Downtown Association, and I'm here for the council for your semi-annual meeting of what's been going on with the Coos Bay Downtown Association. So bear with me because I am not a public speaker. I can talk one-on-one all day long, but when I have to talk to a crowd, it gets a little sketch. So first of all, I just want to start by saying that there was a moment last summer during the Wednesday market when a visitor stopped a staff member at the farmer's market and said, "Downtown finally feels alive again." That feeling wasn't about one event, it was about a momentum, a sense that downtown Coos Bay is becoming a place where people want to be. And tonight, I want to share with you our leadership transition and the new paid leadership direction that the Downtown Association is going to go. The stability and positivity we're hearing from downtown stakeholders, our current organizational footing, and how we're preparing for the events that are coming this summer. Okay. Yeah. Am I on the right spot? Okay.
Next slide.
Yeah, there we go. So we asked a couple of times, once at our downtown annual meeting, and again we sent out an email just to get kind of a pulse as to how our membership, building owners, and stakeholders were feeling about downtown. We did get our share of criticism, but we got some positivity, and those are just a few of examples of the positivity that we got back about how stakeholders and business people were feeling about the direction of the downtown. I think people are feeling the momentum. They want to coordinate and keep it moving, and with our transitional changes and new strategies, we believe we're on a path to getting there. So as you may or may not know, the Downtown Association is in a leadership transition with a new paid leadership coming on board. This is an important moment and is also part of our much longer story. I want to take a step back and tell you, if you're not aware, that the organization started with a handful of concerned business owners that wanted to bring more foot traffic downtown. They wanted to coordinate their efforts and their dollars and try and make a bigger impression of downtown. So they volunteered their time and their energy and their passion to make downtown stronger. They started out by doing at the Blackberry Arts Festival, which, if anybody's been here a while, it used to be a one-day event. It used to be on a Saturday years ago. It was one of the first events that this group put together. Those early beginnings with the Downtown Association has grown into something a little bit more unified, a downtown business voice, and a true partner with the city. We've been at crossroads before. We faced challenges and made tough decisions, but each time we've come out stronger, and I want to say very clearly that the board we have today, those beautiful faces up there, are one of the strongest ones that we've had since I've been part of this association, and I've been with the Downtown Association for almost 24 years, which is a long time. I feel confident and genuinely confident that we will navigate this new transition and be just as successful, if not more successful, than we have been in the past. Next. So I'm just going to let this run. Does it have voice? It has a really nice guy's voice. Well, let me just kind of move forward while we'll figure that part out. So this new transition, we've been at this crossroads, so this new transition with the new leadership has given us some clarity, and it's also going to help us with some stronger partnerships and some more consistent activation. Are we close? It was a beautiful video, by the way. But we can bypass it.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm not sure how to share audio within the...
That's okay. Let's just go to wherever slide 8 is. I don't know which one that is. Well, I'm going to wing it.
Do it.
Imagine
we have luck.
Okay, well, I'm just going to wing it. So what we heard was that we needed to work on a couple of themes, and we need to align them and get prepared for the season. We need to be realistic about the work we do as we seek a new director, and we need to build a new framework and alignment for a better Coos Bay through economic vitality, beautification, advocacy, and promotions. These priorities reflect what we've heard from the community, stakeholders, and what downtown needs most right now. It needs business support. That's what we heard over and over again. Retention and recruitment and clear communication channels. That is something that we're working on. Communication and beautification, everything from the digital connections about events and collaboration, seasonal decor, murals, facade support, cleanliness and safety was also one of the things that was brought up time and time again. The events and community engagement, people talked more about enhanced signature events and having more partnerships. And also the organization development, that part with this new leadership that we want to bring on is going to bring on a better board development, define our strategies better, have better communications, and we'll be able to herd us better. This board, although we're great, we're like cats, so we definitely need somebody that can herd cats. So just a few things preparing for the season coming up. Everybody is aware that farmers market starts tomorrow, and I think the community's really pretty excited about that. Also, we have coming up the City in the Park, 4th of July, and then the two big events that the Downtown Association puts on, which is the Blackberry Arts Festival and also the Fun Festival. Those two are kind of our spearhead, and then we end the year with the fourth quarter, which we really focus in on the businesses. Fourth quarter, using the home, well, starts with trick or treat, and then it goes on with some of our other events that we put on, and ends with Santa coming downtown. All this is going to require partnership, and partnership with the city is essential. We're committed to being a strong organization and a partner with the city, and in return, we're hoping that we can rely on the city to be a strong partner with the Downtown Association. The downtown Coos Bay is a place where people want to be, but we know there's work to do, and we're just getting started. We share the same goals: a vibrant, safe, economical, strong downtown, and we thank you for your continued partnership and support. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I know that got like way out of the weeds.
So when does that matter? It says you want to create more traffic downtown. Do you have a suggestion on that? I mean, you and I've talked, Beth, about.
We have some of it's going to be a little bit harder to do. Downtown, the downtown core has kind of turned into a little bit of a business district, and there's a lot of businesses that are not open on the weekends. So the few businesses that are struggle down there. I think trying to get that traffic that walks up and down Highway 101 to turn and walk down Central is important. Joe and I've talked about art is always a big thing that gets people to move. And there's a lot of cities that have done really great with places by just putting in art, making people walk. And I think that's a big strategic plan for the Downtown Association, and would probably be able to find some partnership, not just with the city, but with other organizations that would want to help with that. We talked about maybe trying to do Central one block at a time, but I think that's what gets more of that business to walk in there. And once you get the community and that traffic to move that way, then some of those buildings are more attractive to things like retail, restaurants, those kind of things that will also, will be open on the weekends. So
Some of the things that this council has talked about, and Nicole itself, and I think we talked about it, is since Central's open all the way, closing one of those blocks and trying to make it more of a gathering place to your point, get people off 101. I mean, a perfect example is when you have farmers market, and all those blocks are closed, and it attracts a lot of personnel or people down there. So is that something? I mean, is that something that you would suggest or support? I mean,
I personally suggest that, and I feel like the Downtown Association is behind that as well. But taking it like one block at a time, like taking that first block and closing it, and I'm not very smart, these guys are smarter, but those pylons that, those big metal pylons that go into the ground, but you can pull them out when you need traffic to go, but it stops traffic, and it actually stops traffic. I mean, we just put up wood barricades, and by the grace of God, nobody's decided to drive through them. they really don't stop anything. But having that kind of stopping power, and then, what are they called? That's what we need. But they also come out when you need that street to be a through street. So taking it one block at a time, coming up with a design, the Downtown Association could certainly come up with a couple ideas and present it to the council, and with their thoughts, or even putting together a task force where maybe we have a couple people from the city. Also, there's so much artists and artisans in this town. I mean, we had no trouble finding artists to paint those electrical boxes. So to find those same artists that would sit on a panel and say, okay, what can you do with this first block that would make it a little bit more attractive for somebody to say, I want to see what's down here, because that's the problem with Central.
The other thing is that you talk about cleaning things up and making it cleaner. I totally agree. And there's some frustration for myself and other councilors, is that we have some building owners that are not maintaining those buildings. And even the sidewalks, they need to be cleaned up. And I don't know what we can do. It's their responsibility. Smart finding them. That's not the really way to go. So this is where we could use Coos Bay Downtown Association and Advocate to help us achieve that. We want to make it look good.
Well, and
I mentioned Rob Crocker on here. I'll give you a perfect example. That building is horrendous, and it's been sitting there for a long period of time. He's an advocate, and we've worked with him before, but he's got to change that building. It's got to be different than it is. It's the old Fletcher building. It's on the corner of Anderson and 101. Yeah. And we're not just, I understand there was a fire and there's insurance problems, but we're talking about the sidewalk alone. And, there's got to be a way that we can make these more attractive, even if they're closed up, that make them appealing in some fashion. Let's put some facades on a plywood, let's put some murals on them or something to make them at least look decent until people get there. And I know Rob's a member, but this is something that we need to start addressing.
And I think that the Downtown Association, with one of their committees, can take one of these buildings one at a time, because there's several. We can name not just that building. You can go up Anderson, and and then there's several of them. But if we take them one at a time, and we can approach that building owner and talk to them about what their problems are, because sometimes it's permitting, sometimes it's lack of funds, sometimes it's they're not in this town, so it's a write-off. But if we can find out, okay, what is the carrot that's going to make this building a little bit better, and how can we, as an association, be that go-between, I don't want to say good cop, bad cop, but kind of, let's us be the go-between and figure out what needs to happen with this building, what the time frame is, and what we can do to help meet those needs with the city as well.
Perfect. That's great. I don't want to take the whole thing up. Anyone else comments?
I have a question. I know we have a budget meeting on Thursday, and I know the city last year, I think it was last year, increased our commitment to the Downtown Association, I believe, to the tune of $70,000. Mm-hmm. And if I remember correctly, that was to attract a dynamic executive director that was going to help kind of change the future of the Downtown Association. So I'm going to ask you the pointy-headed question. What assurances, if the city agrees to provide $70,000 again, what will you be doing differently, and how much of the dollars that we give go to the salary?
So I will tell you that there's a good portion of that money that we take from the Downtown Association that helps pay for the salary. I don't know who was all here when the Downtown Association decided to become Main Street. Part of being Main Street was that you had to have an executive director as to be in that next level for Main Street. So in order to, we did that the first 2 years with, I want to say, we was a volunteer that with the state of Oregon. And then we went ahead and got an executive director with the help of the funds. This last director that we had, we'll call him director, he helped us get back on track on a lot of things, but he did not help us when it came to some of the more one-on-one type of situations that we needed. The Downtown Association is looking at retooling the whole job description. I think what we need is somebody that can be a voice for the downtown and be very, very focused on the membership and understanding what we need to do in recruitment and all the things that need to happen with all of the four, not just promotions, not just great events, but the economic vitality, what that can do, the design, all the stuff, the things that are happening every day, like flower baskets, which should be going up. I think they're already starting to go up, but flower baskets are going in. There's some things about that, but there's more that can be done with design. And then organization needs to have, which has to deal with membership and sponsorship and grants and those sort of things. All of that person, we need that person.
If I can also add, and I'm really extremely disappointed because I went through this presentation with Beth, that it did not work, because it actually was supposed to share that strategic planning process that moved from where we were in the last year. And I sit on this board as the liaison to the city, so just let me say that for the public purposes of the public. But this was actually supposed to be a blueprint for that planning, that strategic plan, and that you could visualize, and then she would explain. But we got kind of thrown off our game because it did not work at all.
But I mean, and yeah, we did work really hard, and part of that problem will always be that the person that we find for this position has to love the position and not the money. Because even with the help of the city, we do not pay executives, director salaries. We do not have health insurance. We do not have a pension. We don't have any of that. So the person we find to do this job has to love the job and not love the money and the benefits that come behind it. That may be hard to do, but I think there's people out there. I think we just need to be able to really focus on what we need and then work to find that special person that's going to fit in there.
Beth, you answered that perfectly. I just had to ask the question to make sure that there is a plan and there is a path going forward, so that I have done my due diligence as a city councilor and realized that money is going to improve the community, right? And I don't want to disparage past executive directors. Obviously, there just needs to be, as Councilor Kilmer said, a change of direction and a change of focus. And it sounds like you guys are working on that. So, thanks.
I think that, in all honesty, that we were made aware of our shortcomings a little while ago, and we just needed to say, okay, this is what we need to do. We just need to move forward with or without the help of the city. It's something that has to happen if the Downtown Association is going to be here and still do everything that we do for the city, plus the community more than just the city. I feel like we do a lot for the community. We do a lot for the businesses that are downtown. We try to be the voice, for many. We try to go around to businesses and say, so what's your problem? What's your problem today? Okay, well, sometimes their problem is just their problem, but then sometimes we find out it's a whole block's problem when you start asking each business. So when it becomes a whole block problem, then you think, okay, so what do we need to do? Is it a place issue? Is it a safety issue? Is it a building owner's issue? How can we fix it so that these small businesses, which I feel are a vibrant part of this community, and I hear what's going on with Home Depot, because I have the same fears with TJ Maxx and Hobby Lobby and all of those. There's a lot of businesses that have all those fears. So in order to work with these small businesses and make sure that they're still here for this community, we have to bring all their voices together as one, and that's what the Downtown Association, that's what its fabric is.
Anyone else? Anyway, Beth, I continue. I look forward to it. And again, I'm going to say, as I told everyone else, I'm available to sit down and have a discussion. I've had many discussions with you, but if the board wants to talk and we want to look at a way, if there's a problem that we can resolve and work with you, it'd be much better, especially if you're the advocate out there helping us get there. Because I can do, there's frustration on this side, so we need to find a way to collaborate together, as you stated. So,
I just want to add, and Councilor Kilmer, maybe you can shed some light on it, but is the presentation something that we can also email out to the councilors so they can view it in its
but I think
entirety?
Christine has it. If we are comfortable just spinning, it's a beautiful
it's
video.
I mean, fine, if you can make it work.
I'm going to try my best, Mayor.
Okay.
Shoot.
Live with Energy, a place where history meets possibility. From the waterfront boardwalk to Central, every corner tells a story of community, creativity, and connection. This is the heart of Coos Bay, where local businesses thrive, families gather, and visitors discover the spirit of the Oregon coast. The Coos Bay Downtown Association has worked to foster a healthy, impactful structure. And now we are leading the way forward, revitalizing, strengthening, and re-energizing our historic downtown and commercial district. With a healthy, engaged board and a clear vision, the CBDA is evolving into a forward-facing organization, one that meets the needs of our downtown and waterfront core, helping our city and community thrive. There's excitement here, opportunity, momentum. Together, we're shaping a downtown that reflects who we are, vibrant, welcoming, and ready for the future.
It's like stadium sound.
It was. It was very echoey.
I think the tablet probably didn't have the memory capacity to run it at full speed, but it would be great if we could just send it out to each of the councils so they can view it the way it was meant to be seen. It really is an impressive piece of work.
And I also know that we're a line item on your budget.
Yes.
So if you want representation from the Downtown Association at your budget meeting, just holler.
I would always say it would be wise to attend the budget meeting for anything, I mean, any kind of comment, or if you're on there, I think you should. I mean, there's going to be questions, I have no idea. So, but you have 14 people that will be there, so I'm sure someone will have a question of some
Okay,
sort.
perfect. Then we'll just plan on being there right after I do all those.
All right,
Well,
thank you.
I thank you guys for your time.
No, and seriously, thank you. All right. Okay, next item on the is a presentation, If I Were Mayor, Student Contest Results and Recognition. This was a perfect meeting to be If I Were Mayor, right? In fact, I should have had some of you up here with me, and maybe you could have guided me and given me some suggestions. So anyway, with that, let's do the presentation.
Okay.
So this is like one of the first, since 2016. I'm not sure if anyone else has done this at the city of Coos Bay. I always am envious of watching other cities do this. And so, anyway, I appreciate everyone participating in this. It's wonderful that you are. And again, I'm going to tell you the same thing I've told everyone else. If you want to get a hold of me and want to discuss this in further detail, what it is to be a mayor or a councilor involved, I would love it, because you are the future, and you're going to make the difference of what happens. And I can't advocate that enough. I'm the old guy, and I'm going to be going away, so we need young individuals like yourself coming up and stepping up and wanting to do something good for the city, and you've taken the first step. So don't stop there, all right? So, Nicole?
Sorry. Just to maybe give a little background for everybody, this is a process that is sponsored by the Oregon Mayors Association. They host us annually, and they reach out to us and ask if we have interest to do this in our community. The goal is that we get one student that we get to elevate up to the statewide competition. So this is our first attempt at doing this, and we had some energized entries, excited for that. And then I'd also add, we had support from the community. Northwest Natural came forth to sponsor this event, so we were able to give some pretty decent prizes, I think, everybody will be happy with. So the process, we took these essays in, and there was a selection committee who followed a scoring in order to do so, to determine first, second, third, and an honorable mention. So that's what we're going to do tonight.
Right, and so the city received $500 in donations, and we'll be allocating that out to these 4, right? Okay.
Yep. So in first place
is Faith England. Hey, Faith. So congratulations, we got a certificate, and you're going to wear the city pin all over the place, right? Okay. I don't expect you to do that, but thank you so much for participating.
You got to face the camera.
You should turn around. You come up and turn around for take a picture.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Faith. Maria, how do you say this?
Mira Cantrell.
So Mira Cantrell is second place.
And that's hers.
All right, we're going to do it this way, right? So we got to do these photos, right? But here's your certificate, and I appreciate it. And you also get $150. I don't know, what was yours? Okay, so $150. All right. And here you go. Thank you. All right.
Did you do a picture?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh.
I guess not. All right, thanks.
Elias Youssef.
Elias Youssef. Elias, congratulations, and also you got a pen and a gift certificate for 100. And I remember when he was this high, right? He was much taller than I am. Anyway, congratulations. Thank you. You bet. Lucy Seedborn. Thank you. Congratulations. All right, get that photo, right? And we'll have this in the Friday update, so if you guys look, we'll have it in the Friday update.
And maybe the last thing is just to thank Sydney. She's the teacher for this group of students. She's a 7th and 8th grade teacher, and this is specific to a leadership class that she teaches. So thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Appreciate it, all right? So I'm going to see everyone at the next council meeting or get a hold of me, right? All right, thank you.
Tell everybody tomorrow.
Let me grab one and I'll get the heck out of your way.
You want me in this?
Yes.
Let's move.
If you do it again, we'll definitely enter again.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Christine. All right.
Never mind.
All right, next item on the agenda is approval of a Building Safety Month proclamation. Marcy, I knew you were in the audience for some reason, right?
Yes.
It's good to see you.
Thank you. Good evening. So today we bring to you Building Safety Month. So Building Safety Month is an international campaign that occurs every year in May to raise awareness regarding building safety. This campaign reinforces the need for adoption of modern, regularly updated building codes, helps individuals, families, and businesses understand what it takes to create safe and sustainable structures. This year, the month-long campaign contains weekly focus themes. Week 1, Safe Homes and Strong Communities. Week 2, Voices of the Built Environment. Week 3, Prepared to Protect. Week 4 is Communities Without Limits. We request Mr. Mayor and the Council to proclaim the month of May of 2026 as Building Safety Month in the City of Coos Bay. For the past 45 years, the International Code Council has celebrated advances in construction safety, sustainability, affordable construction, and resilient buildings. The ICC, its members, and a diverse partnership of safety and construction professionals come together to promote building safety through proclamations, informational events, legislative briefings, and more. The ongoing support of Building Safety Month, along with the important roles permit specialists, planners, code officials play in public safety, is a tradition supported by U.S. presidents, governors, mayors, county executives, and other governmental officials, and construction industry professionals, with the understanding for the need of safe and sustainable structures where we live and work. We join forces in support of Building Safety Month.
Thank you, Marcy. So, you want me to read it? Do it.
Okay. Whereas the City of Coos Bay is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depend on the safety and essential role our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play, both in everyday life and when disasters strike. And whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas this year's observance aligns with the nationwide America Gives initiative, which seeks to generate the highest number of volunteer service hours in honor of America's 250th anniversary. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And whereas these modern building codes include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, floods, and earthquakes. And whereas is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown protectors of public safety, our local code officials, who assure us of safe, sustainable, and affordable buildings that are essential to our prosperity. And whereas the effective administration of building safety codes affects our community and provides us confidence that our structures are safe and sound. And whereas safe homes build strong communities, and strong communities are communities without limits. And whereas Built to Last, the theme for Building Safety Month 2026, encourages us all to raise awareness about building safety on a personal, local, and global scale. And whereas each year in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local and state building departments, fire prevention bureaus, and federal agencies in protecting lives and property.
Now therefore, I, Joe Benetti, Mayor of the City of Coos Bay, hereby proclaim May 2026 to be Building Safety Month in the City of Coos Bay and encourage our citizens to join us as a participant in Building Safety Month activities. With that being the case, I need a motion and a second to adopt this proclamation, please.
I'll make a motion that we proclaim the month of May 2026 as Building Safety Month in the City of Coos Bay.
I will second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the proclamation for Building Safety Month. Is there any other discussion or comments? Do you have a comment?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Next item on the agenda is approval of Wildfire Awareness Month proclamation. Chief Atkins.
Good evening. May is recognized as Wildfire Awareness Month in Oregon, highlighting the increasing threat of wildfires driven by prolonged drought, rising temperatures, and expansion into the wildland-urban interface. In 2025, Coos Bay fire crews deployed for over 30 days on multiple fires in Oregon, as well as 14 days on the Palisades fire in Southern California, logging over 2,100 hours of working time. This highlights the year-round need for wildfire readiness. A proclamation supports statewide efforts to promote defensible space, emergency planning, and public awareness while recognizing the vital role of our firefighters. So, I'll read the proclamation.
Thank you.
So, whereas wildfire continues to pose a significant and increasing threat to the safety, property, and natural resources of communities across Oregon, including the City of Coos Bay, and whereas the frequency and intensity of wildfires are influenced by weather conditions, human activity, and the accumulation of dry vegetation, making prevention and preparedness essential, and whereas the Oregon State Fire Marshal, in partnership with the Oregon Department of Forestry and local fire service agencies, promotes wildfire prevention through public education, defensible space practices, and community engagement. And whereas the Coos Bay Fire Department is dedicated to protecting life and property through education, outreach, defensible space assessments, and collaboration with state and local emergency response partners. And whereas residents and property owners play a critical role in reducing wildfire risk by maintaining defensible space, properly disposing of yard debris, following local burning regulations, and preparing evacuation plans. And whereas increasing awareness and taking proactive steps before wildfire season can significantly reduce the impact of wildfires on our community. And whereas May is recognized throughout the state of Oregon as Wildfire Awareness Month, encouraging all Oregonians to take action to prevent wildfire and prepare their homes and families.
Now, therefore, I, Joe Benetti, the Mayor of the City of Coos Bay, do here proclaim the month of May of 2026 to be Wildfire Awareness Month in the City of Coos Bay and urge all residents to take meaningful steps to reduce wildfire risk and protect their homes, neighborhoods, and surrounding natural areas. With that being the case, Council, I need a motion and a second to adopt this.
I make a motion that we approve the proclamation declaring May 2026 as Wildfire Awareness Month.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the proclamation for Wildfire Awareness Month. Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public hearing to consider enacting an ordinance establishing authority for performance of background checks by Coos Bay Police Department. Captain Lindell, how are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a little far down there. I wanted to make sure you guys could see me. So just to give some history on this, in April, our communications administrator, Tessa Cupp, was preparing for a LEDS audit, which is the state system that runs criminal history background checks. During that process, it was discovered that in order for us to run criminal history background checks for pre-employment purposes, so for new employees or volunteer applicants, tow truck drivers, certain nonprofit organizations that deal with youth, so like sports leagues around the community, and OLCC license applicants, we need some authority granted by the council through enacting an ordinance that would actually grant us that permission through the LED's kind of rules and regulations. And so we drafted an ordinance, and it is before you tonight. Again, the police department, to conduct these, it's vital in maintaining the highest degree of public trust and confidence in our employee vetting. And so an ordinance has been drafted and is before the council's review tonight for enactment. Staff's recommendation is that council finds immediate enactment of this ordinance is necessary for the preservation of public peace, health, and safety. Immediate implementation will support the timely hiring and onboarding of public safety personnel, permitting staff, and other essential employees, and will ensure the appropriate criminal history screening procedures are in place without delay. Kind of just of note, Tessa Cup went through the LEDS audit earlier today, and we passed with flying colors, but they did put this ordinance in front of the LEDS auditor, who said it will absolutely meet the requirements for the LEDS criminal history background checks. So if there's any questions, more than willing to answer them.
So when you do these background checks, this information that you gather on these individuals, does that become public?
No. Okay. So it falls into kind of the employee management realm. Though, say, a potential applicant, they could get these records, but they would have to apply to the Oregon State Police to get them. The City of Coos Bay does not actually retain any of these records. They're all retained by the state police.
Great.
So, go ahead. No, first.
I would imagine that the depth of review is different for a police officer versus a tow truck driver. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so do you have it, will it be outlined for each position, or what does that
Yes.
look like?
So you are correct. There, like the police department, there's certain ORSs and OARs that govern, what requirements are in place for us. Fire department has similar ones, but the departments within the city that don't, I know Jessica, our HR coordinator, is working with the different department heads to line out what that criteria looks like. That's kind of aligned with best practice around the state. And then tow truck drivers, I believe that's kind of lined out in the tow contract that we have. That's specifically why tow truck drivers are in there, because we've asked for that through some of our contracts and maybe didn't have the authority to do it. So,
thank you.
And then historically, we've done the nonprofits. I don't know that we're doing them currently.
Troy?
Yeah, so I guess that was my question. So for my staff, I have to do background checks, federal, and then check licenses. What have you been doing up to this point? Or I guess I'm saying, why is this new? What occurred? What was the change?
It is primarily related to any employee or volunteer that applies to the city that is outside the sphere of, say, criminal justice. So any employee outside the police department, in order for the police department to run a pre-employment background check, we have to have it authorized through a city ordinance.
So I don't have to do that as an employer, but you do as a police department?
Correct.
Okay. Is there, I mean, you may not know, but is there a reason why? I mean, are you guys just held to a higher standard, or they're trying to protect the public safety or interest? Or
I'm not sure where you're getting your guys' background check from, but because we're reaching out straight to the Oregon State Police LEDs, that's why we have to follow their rules and procedures. And so because they've designated this through their rules, we now have to comply with them and make sure we've kind of
So essentially it's out of your control. You're doing what
yes.
you're...
Yeah.
Okay.
In order to keep using LEDs and running criminal history checks, we have to comply with their rules and policies. So.
Okay. Thank you.
And I guess I could just round that out a little bit. Like, we could do background checks, but not use our police department. We could use a third-party source.
Gotcha.
But we have a tool, a resource here, which we have used for a while. It has just recently been made aware of us that access point is used for public safety purposes and not maybe for engineering or finance, those kinds of things, unless you have authorized that.
Okay. Yeah, we use a third party. That's how we do it. Yeah. Thank you.
And there's a criteria that they would have, I mean, like, for instance, parking tickets, right? I have numerous of them in the past, so that would not be the criteria. That was a long time ago. We don't have a parking regulator any longer. So
2 weeks is not a long time ago.
I'm not going to get into it. So anyway, I appreciate any other questions, comments. Hearing none, how would you like to proceed, council?
Do you have to have a public hearing?
It's a public hearing.
Oh, yes, I do. I apologize. Okay, with that being the information, I'm going to open a public hearing, so this would be the time that if you have a comment about this process for the council or the captain, this would be the time. Anyone want to make a comment? Hearing none? Anything online?
Throw something in there.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's get any public hearing first. Anyone else? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Jacob.
Sorry. Ahead. Yeah, I just wanted to say, I know at school, for any volunteer that comes through any system, we have to run a background check for even just for a outdoor school event. So I think it's a good thing.
It's a good policy. Yes, I agree. All right, council. I need a motion in a second.
I'll move to enact the ordinance allowing the police department to conduct pre-employment criminal history background checks on prospective city employee applicants and volunteers.
Second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to enact an ordinance establishing an authority for performance of background checks by the Coos Bay Police Department. Roll call, please, Christine.
An ordinance of the City of Coos Bay requiring criminal history records checks for applicants for paid or volunteer employment. Councillor Kilmer.
Aye.
Councillor Stevens.
Aye.
Councillor Cribbins.
Aye.
Councillor Niebercall.
Aye.
Councillor Matthews.
Aye.
Councillor DeNovo.
Aye.
And Mayor Benetti.
Aye.
Ordinance number 599 has been duly enacted.
Thank you. Next item is consideration to award the 2026 bundled street and sewer project. Greg?
Yeah, so on July 15, 2025, Council approved the following streets for design and construction for a total amount of $1,240,000. South 8th Street, Central Avenue and Anderson, South 8th Street between Central Avenue and Anderson Avenue, South 5th Street between Golden Avenue and Hall Avenue, and North Wasson Street between Grant Avenue and Taylor Avenue. The funding for this project was from the Transportation Fund 02, Construction Streets, and the Transportation Utility Fee. During the design process, it was determined that the sewer main located beneath South 5th Street between Golden Avenue and Hall Avenue had reached the end of its useful life. Staff determined that replacement of the sewer line in conjunction with the roadway improvements was necessary and appropriate. In addition, minor storm and sewer improvements were incorporated into the South 8th Street project between Central Avenue and Anderson Avenue. Staff directed the project consultant, the Dyer Partnership, to include the sewer line replacement and associated utility improvements within the project scope of work. This storm and sewer work was not factored into the original estimate presented in July 2025. The construction associated with the storm and sewer will be funded by the Water Quality Improvement Fund 29. On April 30th, 2026, the city received 5 responsive bids for the project. The apparent low bidder is Johnson Rock Products. I have attached the bid tabulation form for an amount of $847,360. The approved budget of $1,240,000 did not include funds from the Water Quality Improvement Fund. As a result, staff is bringing this project back to council for consideration of award due to the added funding source. Staff is recommending awarding the project to Johnson Rock Products for an amount not to exceed $974,000, which includes a 15% contingency. So when we put this project together for bid, staff structured the bid into multiple schedules. Schedules A, C, and E include the roadway, which council previously approved. Funding for these schedules is allocated as follows: $187,343.50 from the Transportation Fund 02, and $500,000 from the city's Transportation Utility Fee. Schedules B and D include the sewer and storm system improvements. Funding for these schedules provided through the Stormwater Collections projects for $3,962.90, and the Water Quality Collection System for $283,157.60. All of these amounts include a 15% contingency.
So, Greg, for clarification for everyone, so we can make this a little bit clearer, at least for myself too. So there's a tough transportation utility fee that's been put into place, and that is those funds paid just for the street, as you've indicated, correct?
Correct.
And then the sewer is going to be paid by the sewer rates that are collected and these upgrades that are going to be done, correct?
That is correct.
So are we using this same, like, is Johnson Rock going to do the street and the sewer?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay, those are my questions. Anyone else?
So they're still being paid out of 2 different funds?
They're going to be paid out of a total of 4 different funds.
Okay.
The transportation, the gas tax, the transportation utility fee, the storm.
Boo, gas tax.
We get the gas tax. We got to spend the gas tax dollars.
Sorry.
And then also the sewer and the stormwater fund as well.
But the TOUGH program is situated in a way, it was adopted by this council, that those funds are allocated just for the streets. We don't use any, we're not reimbursing any labor on the city side. Am I correct?
That's correct. And that's why we broke it out the way we did,
Right.
the 5 different schedules.
Okay.
Forgive my ignorance. Do you remember how much we generate in the TOUGH fees annually? I can't remember.
It's just over $1 million.
So we're using half of those dollars on this project.
Yes.
But that's annually.
That is annually, yes.
Right.
Okay.
Just conversationally, as we were responding to public comment earlier today, this is part of the complexity of how things are funded. And you don't always get a choice of just lumping it all in one general fund and then fixing what you need to. You got to be creative and figure out where you're going to pull from to take care of things, because they're endowed, or I guess are restricted. So,
Well, Councilor Cribbins, the council actually adopted the TOUGH, the transportation utility fees. It was a creative way to try to fix roads and potholes. And so had we not done that, not enacted a fee, then we would not be able to fix those roads today. Just thought I'd point that out to you.
My cheek feels sore. All of a sudden, right?
Well, the thing is on top of it, when I ran in 2016 and Councilor DeNovo and Councilor Kilmer, one of the big issues that were facing us was the streets and the disrepair of them and how far behind we were on the maintenance of it. And I think we've come a long way because of the TOUGH program and some other things with urban renewal also that has helped us get there. And I think staff was diligent in making sure that the sewer got done and the street together instead of doing the street, coming back and tearing up the street and redoing it. So I kudos to them for that. Anyway, enough of my comments. Anyone else? Okay, with that being the case, how would you like to move forward with this item?
I have a motion that we award the 2026 Bundled Street and Sewer Project to Johnson Rock Products Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $974,464, which includes a 15% contingency.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to go ahead and award the 2026 Bundle Street and Sewer Project. Is there any comments or discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Next item on the agenda is discussion regarding undergrounding overhead utilities along North Front Street between Market Street and First Street. Nicole.
Thank you. So I would first start out just acknowledging that Maureen White from DEA was online, just in case there was any outside questions in relation to where we're at with the Front Street blueprint.
Welcome, Maureen. How are you?
While we are working through that with the DEA team, a opportunity to consider another improvement on Front Street was brought forth, and that is to underground the utilities on Front Street. Just acknowledging that there are some benefits by doing so, which include obviously the streetscape aesthetics, the overhead visual clutter that comes automatically, which is having overhead, aerial lines on power poles. And it also can assist us with our pedestrian-oriented design that we're working through, as well as can help reduce weather-related outages. While those are great benefits to be considering, there's of course some costs and funding challenges related to that. We did work with Pacific Power just in a very short window to kind of get some estimates for what those costs may be. And we were given just an initial amount for this first phase of about $300,000. But we would note that that does not include the necessary trenching, the installation of the vaults and the conduit. What really that does purchase is those vaults and the conduit, so the materials to do that first stage. It also does not include the costs that would likely come up with the private properties on there. They would have, some of them would need infrastructure upgrades to their meters and their equipment as they are connected. Just like we would see in any other utility, like our sewer utility, that lateral might need replaced. Same thing here. We also did not get the opportunity to communicate this with our telecommunication folks to get an estimate on theirs. So what we know is this very small piece of the puzzle, being about $300,000, knowing what some other area communities have been looking at in far as costs, it's possible that these costs could be anywhere from $1 to $2 million in this first phase. And that could include maybe some supports for private folks with their infrastructure upgrades. So while we acknowledge that this is an opportunity to think about this before we move further as we're planning out, so we don't go back later and say, darn, I wish we would have thought about that, it's also really important to notice this is a big chunk of change and can delay where we are at with the Front Street blueprint design process and ultimately implementation of any of those elements of the blueprint. So we thought we should bring it so we didn't make a decision in the bubble, because this is something that does impact the future of how our community looks, and Front Street being a really crucial piece of our economic development. We want to be really thoughtful about it. So that's what we're presenting tonight, is to kind of get an understanding of which path you'd like us to go. We certainly can gather more information, connect with those other utility providers, try and get a little bit more details out of our electric provider, or we can continue on, right? Continue working with DEA and get that blueprint moved closer to 100% design for the first phase. We did have the opportunity, one of our team members took pictures of the downtown, or that Front Street corridor, and pulled that overhead utility line out and those poles out, just to kind of get a visual of what those might look like if they were not there. So we have a few of those just to show. And then, definitely open for discussion. Again, thanks to Maureen for being willing to be here in case there's any questions on where we're at with the current design process.
So Maureen, did you want to make any comments before we deliberate?
Probably, yeah. First of all, hello, Mayor Benetti and council members. Right now, the design shows the relocation. We're designing between the museum and Cedar, and we show the relocation of 11 poles that are interfering with the curb line and the proposed improvements. So we can make those changes, but you still have those poles in there. And probably an unsolicited comment, I was just looking at the beautiful presentation by the Downtown Association and the beautiful pictures of those beautiful streets, and there were no big power lines. It's an investment, I understand. It's a long-term investment, but it unlocks a lot of opportunities for the waterfront. So that's all I have to say. I mean, they will be relocated. Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, so one thing, okay, if I understand correctly, for clarification, you're talking for that first phase about $1 million. That doesn't count what it would cost the business owners or the property owners to go ahead and retrofit for the underground utilities, which would be a cost that needs to be done, correct?
Correct, and so that's when we expanded that out to $1 to $2 million. Is there is some private investment necessary to allow those property owners to connect to an underground utility. Right. Yeah, for sure.
So I'll just start, and then everyone else can chime in. I think it's great not to have any utilities and have them all above ground and have them all below ground. My problem is that we are limited, and again, I want to reiterate for everyone, these are urban renewal dollars that are allowing us to do this project, and so I think it's important. But those urban renewal dollars are limited to what we do have. And we just had a presentation by the Downtown Association, which Maureen referenced. We have a project we're talking about trying to do something to reinvigorate and change some things that need to be done down there to make it more pleasant and appealing. And so even though I like the idea of this, I just don't think that we should be spending these kind of dollars, and also we'd be impacting the property owners, which I think would be something that we would have to definitely talk about. And if we decided we were going to go this way, I think that we need to look at absorbing that cost for the property owners, because I think it would be a burden on them at this time. So anyway, those are my comments, and I will open it up to the rest of you.
I am 100% big fan of the power lines being buried. I mean, but that's a lot of money. And I don't, the difficulty is, we've just talked about it once when we were talking about with the roads, was we're going to fix the sewer and then come back 2 years later, tear it all up, and then do something else. So there is a long-term investment of doing it and doing it once right. So if there were some creative ways that other people could come in and absorb some of that cost, because I do think that we should subsidize the private business owners along, because that's a substantial cost to go underground and then reset up all their hookups. I've looked at it for my personal residence at home, and for like 2 blocks, it was $70,000. I just look over the power lines. But there is some, now this is innuendo at best, but there is some understanding that the power lines, or the power companies, are thinking about moving to underground anyway because of wildfire danger. But they're dragging their feet because the costs are exorbitant, and they're already, you know, if you ask them, they're already not making enough money to update their infrastructure. So power companies in general are already struggling with lagging infrastructure and looking at replacing those, and the thoughts are that they might as well just move them to underground. So maybe in the future they're going to do it anyway and they would pay for it, but...
You talked to the power company, right?
Yeah, so we did, and even when we look at the moving of some of these poles, just because of the challenges that we have currently with the design, there is a mechanism already for them to do that at their costs, but we recognize too, right, those costs get passed out to the folks who use that system.
Rate users,
so, yeah. That's likely the scenario that they would be looking at is, yes, we can do those things because of wildfire risk, but it's going to get pushed to those ratepayers ultimately at the end.
Right.
Of course, rates have to be approved by the PUC. Those are all things that they go forth and make sure that the PUC, Public Utility Council, has oversight over rates.
I would be interested to see, if we were moving forward, if that was something they can do, what that would look like for ratepayers. Otherwise, I suppose the fiscal part of me says, I don't know that we can do both, and I want to see that project move forward.
I agree. I think we've waited long enough for this Front Street blueprint plan, and I'd like the community to see some wins there and see how we, as Mayor Benetti said, another example of how we use urban renewal dollars very successfully. So, and I'm not a proponent of pushing that cost onto the business owners. So I think we should move forward with the project, and perhaps someday, as Councilor Cribbins said, maybe the power company will do it, and it'll be on their dime, not ours.
When it was mentioned about ratepayers paying for this, this is not something we can ask Pacific Power to go ahead and initiate and then pass on to the ratepayers. This is something they have to decide themselves, correct?
They have a couple of avenues that they can look at that. Our franchise agreement does provide for that. Just for example, if we decide that we're going to do a new roadway that requires them to move their pole and to put it underground, that public infrastructure would say they cover that cost. They are using the right-of-ways of the city, and so they would need to move that at their cost. In this instance, a little bit gray area, right? Because it already exists. Does it need to go underground? Those kinds of things. So they have the mechanism to go to PUC. Would they? Could we consider covering costs? I mean, there's a lot of opportunities there to think about how that could be paid.
So if we're building a new road, they could, through city ordinance, be required to place new infrastructure underground.
They could be,
but because
yes,
it already exists, that's where the gray area.
Yeah, and it's not to say that they wouldn't also, when they come in and put their infrastructure in, petition the PUC for a rate change. That includes a portion of that construction cost, right? We don't get to play a part of that process, but where we are the ones pushing the project. Especially in this instance, we should come to the table with funds, or we should expect that it'll likely get pushed out to ratepayers.
I just have, when I was looking at this and then listening to the presentation, I mean, the area down there needs work, and I was like, well, if we're doing improvements to the road, we're not going to leave a power pole in the middle of a walkway. I mean, if you want a classic example of how bad that is, look at Empire. You cannot get a wheelchair down some of the sidewalks because we expanded the sidewalk out and the power poles in the middle of it because it didn't get moved underground. So I think there is some leverage somewhere in there. If we're doing these improvements to the road, sure, it's going to be aesthetically pleasing. It makes sense to do it. Maybe it's coming down the road, but right now the road is getting improved, and I think we have some leverage to say, you know, you can't just leave your pole in the middle of a brand new sidewalk.
Well, but, okay, so here an example of them not leaving the pole in the middle of the sidewalk is if you go down and look at the sidewalk that was brand new along the parking lot that we just did, they're not in the middle of the sidewalk. They're on the edge. So they'll have to do that. And I understand it. I mean, if Pacific Power was willing to step up and do this, but then the other caveat and problem is the business owners. I mean, we're impacting these individuals down there, and, you know, economically, you know, this is not a booming time for everyone, as we've heard tonight. And so, therefore, I think we need to be conscious of saying, okay, let's do this, even if we had Pacific Power do it and put the cost to all the ratepayers, then we still have the business owners that have to absorb those costs.
Do we have any idea ballpark of what that cost would be for business owners?
We don't. The challenge, you know, we did a couple of.
I guess, are we talking hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars? I mean, is it 70K?
Tens, some tens of thousands.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Just doing kind of a walkthrough of an aerial of Front Street and seeing some of the infrastructure that those buildings have. Some of them look really readily accessible and relatively easy to deal with. But others, they're going to find their meters and their equipment down in basements and around corners, and those become a lot more challenging to access and might take a building modification. So there's so many unknowns at this point. It's like how much, we certainly can go do some more investigation, and that's what we're here to say. Do we want to take some time and be really thoughtful? Because we're planning for the future of what Front Street looks like, or do we want to see some visible wins on the work that has been happening for a number of years to get us to this point?
And I just want to say that I'm compartmentalizing. I was just addressing one issue, and I am concerned about the cost to businesses because I just don't think there's a lot of area for them to be able to handle that capacity. There needs to be a conversation with the adjacent property owners.
Yeah, and that would be a part of our plan, absolutely.
I personally would like to see to follow it a little bit, but I don't want to go forever, right? I mean, this is kind of a quick, would they pay for it? Basically, if we were going to if we were going to subsidize the businesses, roughly what would that be? I mean, would it be $100,000 to do everybody? I think that would be reasonable in the total cost of the project, if the power company was willing to pay for the underground stuff. But I mean, I think those are answers that would have to be found quickly. We don't want to waste another year doing this.
No, okay, so just to clarify a little bit here, and then I'm going to go to Sarah and Carmen, who have questions or want to make comments. If I understand correctly, Maureen, we're at about 60% design build out right now, or design, is that right?
Yes, we're working on the 60% design.
And to be able to 100%, we're looking at probably October, November, I'm guessing, or sooner?
No, well, we need to come back to that. I need to talk to Jennifer about the schedule because there's a couple other things that came up that are probably for discussion during the next council meeting. But we have to do an audit order. We have to do environmental permitting, at least go through that process because of the work on the bay side. So that's going to, just environmental permitting takes about a year, as you know. However, there are portions of that project that can be constructed that are not in water work, if I may call it that way. I'm very respectful that Councilor Stevens and Matthews raised their hands before I did, but I have a question for Nicole because I haven't seen the numbers that came out from the power company. But my understanding is that the bid that they gave us, so the preliminary cost, is all the way from the museum all the way to Market. And I wonder if there is a way for them to give us a chunk of just the first portion, right? How much would it be, the first phase of the project from the museum down to Cedar? And if they can do that, I don't know if it's possible for them to do it on phases, but it may be better, I don't know, easier to accommodate in the budget. It's just a thought. I just don't know how they came up with those numbers and what it all includes.
Okay, so did you want to add to that?
You can go ahead.
Okay, so I don't know who was first, Sarah or Carmen?
Ladies first.
Okay, Sarah, comment?
I will just say that I have lived in a community that had buried power lines, and I'm in favor of this, but we don't have a golden parachute or a tree made of money, and this is a small piece of the overall urban renewal district, which is time-based and limited, and I do not think that this is a good use of our limited resources, and I agree with President DeNovo. I do not want to delay this project any longer.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. Carmen?
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way as well. I was hoping that maybe there was some way we could just install some kind of conduit for in the road to kind of push this down the line and make a decision later, or at least have it readily available. But even this, $300,000 doesn't even include trenching or installation of vaults and conduit. I mean, yeah, this is a pretty big cost. I would love to see our power go underneath, but I think we're gonna need Pacific Power to do it. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. So Maureen made a comment, and Councilor Cribbins had asked if there's any way to do a little research. I guess the point being is we do have some time. If you want staff to do a little research on this, it won't stop the project, if I understand correctly, Maureen, because you'll continue with the design. So I guess that's something for this council to consider if you want to have some background or some information gathered by Pacific Power and come back. I guess that's something we could do if you wish.
I would, as long as it doesn't stretch out the project, because I'm on board with the tone of the council of wanting to get this done. So if that's something we could find in the available time frame, that would be awesome.
I can support that as well.
Yeah, so the thing is from David Evans, Maureen, who's sitting on the line, my understanding is this design is not going to be complete before October, and I'm just guessing. I mean, I doubt it be any sooner than that. So therefore, the staff can come back, as long as we can do it in a quick manner, I guess, and come back that we would know what it costs the business owners, at least approximately, because I think that my feeling is that we would need to absorb those costs. And again, as Councilor Stevens said, this is a small our urban renewal dollars, we have to be cautious of how we spend them. So anyway, Carmen, did you have another comment?
No, sorry, I just forgot to lower my hand.
All right. I'm just paying attention. I'm on top of it for once. Anyway, anyone else? You understand
I think I have
the situation?
good marching orders.
All right.
Yeah.
Maureen, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you on board, and look forward to you down the road. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, next item on the agenda is, I gotta get this over. All right, consideration to appointment of the Coos Bay North Bend Water Board Budget Committee. Nicole.
Yes, thank you. Each year, the Coos Bay North Bend Water Board extends an invitation, specifically starting with the mayors, but essentially down to the full council, to consider appointing one member of your body to participate in the Water Board's Budget Committee. Historically, if the member of the council couldn't participate or didn't have the interest or schedules were in conflict, then the city manager has done that. However, Jennifer took that role last year,
And she's not here, and this is not really being facetious because she's not here. She did actually say she did enjoy the work and wouldn't mind certainly doing it again. But we would first extend this to the mayor and council if you had interest to fill that role. Their meetings this year are scheduled for June 4th and June 18th, and they happen during the noon hour-ish, and they do provide lunch. So if there is someone interested, I think we just need a notation of that so we can let the general manager know who will be attending.
I would have some interest, but I am also, if Jennifer wants to go, I mean, she and I can have a conversation. If she wants to go, I'm fine with that. If not, she's just doing it to be, participatory.
Well, I know, but as a counselor, or you have it first choice. I mean, we'll have Councilor Matthews attending, I'm sure, the budget meetings. But if you'd like, I think it's something that you can do, Troy, if you want.
Thank you, but I don't consider myself any higher than Jennifer. And
I understand
if she is interested in going, I would respect that. If not, then
well, she's interested in going. So.
Right. So I will chat with her and individually and see what she thinks, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That sounds good for you?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Decided. All right. Next item, consideration to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the Coos Bay North Bend Water Board for billing services. Nicole?
Yes, thank you. So currently the Water Board provides billing services for both cities for our sewer collection and treatment. They just add that on to all of our customers because we're already they bill for water. They also bill for us for the transportation utility fee, again, just trying to find an efficiency. They were already billing for that. They have similar kind of arrangement with North Bend, who has some additional fees on the billing. They recently, the Water Board, did a cost of service analysis, and a piece of that was this element of how they provide billing services to the city of Coos Bay, and of course the city of North Bend. And what they found, because our last intergovernmental agreement is from 2015 and has not been modified, that they are underbilling as far as the cost to provide that service to the city of Coos Bay. And we acknowledge, in order for us to provide that service, which we don't have billing currently, we would have to hire staff, which would greatly exceed. We'd probably need a couple folks to be able to bill and provide collection and receipting and all of that. So it's still a great benefit to us, even though there is a fairly significant increase. They went through a very thorough, much like we would do on our end in relation to staff members who touch the billing process in their time and their bill rates. In the packet, there is the IGA as well as the Water Board's billing calculation. And so you can see that they total charges for the city of Coos Bay in relation to our transportation utility fee and both our sewer use fee are on that sheet. And we have included that in this year's budget preparation. We knew in advance, and so that is what will be presented to you at Thursday's meeting.
So what's the increase going to be? Is that what it is, 15?
Yes, so it's going from about $9,700 to $15,700 between the two sewer and Tough
Annually,
Fund.
right?
No, monthly.
Okay,
actually.
monthly. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And they currently bill. Okay, so they previously the sewer fees were $7,819 for billing for sewer fees and $1,906 for transportation fees. And it is moving to. Gosh darn it.
Nicole, I think it's yearly, not monthly. When we look at this diagram, it says total average cost for the calendar year 2025. So the 15K.
No, that's what it is monthly.
It is monthly?
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking about 60,000
increase
okay.
for the year. Yeah. They bill for about a little over 6,300 customers on a
split billing cycle because they don't bill all at once for all 6,300. So
It would cost us more than that to staff
Absolutely.
and manage that on a monthly basis,
and
probably
we'd
double
have to
that.
consider,
Right.
collecting data, either using their water usage
Right.
data like they already do to figure out what our sewer usage data is. You'd have to have, maybe someone going out to, we'd have to rethink our whole entire system, not
Right.
just a billing process.
And have a billing system and allow billing by online billing. And they have it all, they have the infrastructure already set up.
Yep. And we've, unfortunately, been getting a really great deal since 2015 when this, that initial agreement was done. Typically, we look at our agreements every 3 to 5 years, depending how, what that range is. We've been getting a pretty good deal for several years because that agreement could have come up much earlier. And they're not asking us to go backwards, right? They're just saying, July 1, let's move forward with this new billing rate.
Sarah, comment.
Yeah, Councillor Cribbins almost made my point, but I'll just add that it costs money to collect money. It costs money to spend money. I think this is fair.
Okay, thanks. Carmen.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in as a representative from the water board. Once again, that infrastructure, as Councilor Cribbins mentioned, just with the software that the water board, contracts out and deals with every day, there's a ton of savings here. And, this comes down a lot to credit card fees and various things. The water board is looking at ways to hopefully reduce some of that cost by offering ACH payments, so directly from your bank account, which would, decrease the likelihood that you're going to need to update your credit card information. It will decrease your percentage that we're all paying in terms of the credit card fees, and would help in general. So while this is a big number, this is something that has been borne by the water board, and and we're doing our budgetary process just like everybody else, and hopefully it's being understood. And I realize it is a big jump, and it was specifically for Coos Bay a larger jump. But looking at this from the other side, it still amounts to a pretty decent deal for the city.
And I just wanted to add that I think that it's the delivery of they're already sending out this information or these bills. So, they have a mechanism in place. It's a way that we can help them, and they do take heat for us on some of the fees. They take
first
a lot.
line, yes.
Their people are dealing with the customers that have to pay that bill. So I think it's definitely warranted.
Okay. Anyone else comments on this? Okay. How do you want to move forward, Council? I need a motion to approve or a motion to deny.
I'm going to make a motion that we approve the intergovernmental agreement with Coos Bay North Bend Water Board for billing services, both sewer user and transportation utility fees.
Well, second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Coos Bay North Bend Water Board for billing services. Is there any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Thank you. Next item is consideration to, I already got that one. I've got to turn the page. That's it. Yeah, St. Magna's report. I know, but that's all the agenda items. Okay. Nicole.
Thank you. So just in acknowledgement of time, just a couple things to share with you. First, wanted to get just a double check on anyone who is interested in walking in or participating in the Portland Parade. I think we put a request out before, so if you have interest, if you can let Christina or I know so we can make sure that we get the tally up to the folks in Portland and make any arrangements necessary. Just a reminder, we've said a bazillion.
June 5th and 6th. Well, June 6th, but
yeah, events are on the 6th, but
right.
Possible you might want to, go up on the 5th. So, if you can let us know, there's, just some arrangements we would want to make. So,
We've talked about it several times tonight, but just clearly again, reminder, budget committee, first budget committee meeting is this Thursday at 6 p.m. Those are public meetings. Everyone's has the option to attend, just like all our other agendas. There's listed on our website, along with the access to attend remotely if you so wish. And then last thing I was just going to share, we will put out information in our Friday update if it's not already been this last Friday, but we had some notification from our Waste Connection partners, our garbage service folks. They're going to be transitioning to not doing pickups on holidays, just in acknowledgement to benefit to their staff so that their folks get to enjoy holidays with their families. And the first one they're going to start with is Memorial Day, so it's coming up this month. They will be recognizing New Year's, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. So those days, if your normal pickup day was on one of those days, they'll be coming the following day. Just so they will be doing their own kind of informational campaign out to their customers, but also we want to do our part as partners in the work they do in the community, make sure we can kind of share that out as well. So, and that's what I got today.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right. Council comments. Sarah.
Just quickly, I'm so excited for Thursday. You should see my kitchen counter. It's full of budget notes, and look forward to seeing everyone there.
All right. Budget meeting on the Thursday. What time is that? 5:30?
It starts at 6. We do gather at 5:30. There we will have dinner. We do bring in folks from the community to help round out that full budget committee, so we do provide dinner for everybody.
Carmen, comments?
Yeah, I'll try to be quick. Yeah, budget time. I'm excited for it as well. The budget was alluded to in some of the public comments. I just want to remind everybody it is very complicated. I think Councillor Cribbins mentioned that there's an intricate web of strings that are that are pulling certain funding in certain directions and are tied to certain uses, and it's a very complex system that over the last almost 8 years I've been on council has been a steady learning curve for myself, and it is frustrating at times to try to understand how money is spent. And I know it can be frustrating for the public when you see one thing being one pile of money being spent somewhere and thinking, well, it should be used for this. And while I wish that we had some kind of magical system to fund all of the projects that we wish we could, that is not the case. And it doesn't all come from our taxes. So, money that we see that is being spent doesn't mean it has come directly from your local taxes, but our budget has a variety of sources. And so that's something that we can all learn with the budget committee, if that's something you would be interested in volunteering your time for, like all of us here. That I want to hop on to the next thing, which is the beautification. The Urban Renewal Agency was talked about today, and I just in terms of budgets, that one is extremely complex. It has been something I've been learning on for a really long time, but I see so much benefit in it. It helps to it helps for beautifying our downtown urban core, but in the most recent years, it has also transformed into the Building Improvement Fund, or helping to help with actual building improvements, not just beautification. So I wanted to clarify that, and it's something that has been a direct impact to our downtown urban core, and I think it has done a lot of good. So just wanted to voice my support for that. In addition, I wanted to move on to businesses and local businesses in particular that really enhance our sense of community. Small businesses are homegrown, and they're the drivers of our local economy and our community in general. They need our support, especially right now. And these are the people who are investing in our home and have our shared prosperity and community in mind with their actions. And, just reminding everyone that local money is spent here and recirculates again and again and again. And so I really hope that at the very least, we as community members of Coos Bay will think about shopping small and or local first, as you know the market kind of changes in Coos Bay in general. But I just, I have a lot of gratitude for our local businesses. I think I'm in FARS almost every day. I know exactly where everything is, it seems like. And, I've seen the effects of our, just economy in the moment has, we've lost some really wonderful businesses in the most recent time. Oregon Tool, the Art Connection, those two places were, frequented by myself and my family and my friends a ton. And I'm really sad to see some of these local pillars be lost. So I hope that we continue to support our local community as much as possible. And I echo Mayor Benetti's sentiment that we are all here to talk about this and to hopefully find solutions. And we're here to band together in whatever way that looks to help support our local businesses. And with that leads me into gratitude for the Coos Bay Downtown Association. I think you guys did a great job presenting, and I'm sorry that there were some technical issues, but that's an example of an organization that is here to help support local businesses and to, just pull things together and work towards building a vibrant downtown. And as a local business owner, I'm extremely grateful to the work that they do. And I'm really grateful that the city council, the city in general, helps to support them as well. So they do a lot of work in ways that maybe we don't all see every day, but we all feel it in the end. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. My last few things are tomorrow is the annual Bike to School Day for the Lighthouse School. So at 7:15, there's going to be a large bike bus of many school-age children and adult chaperones, including the police department and the fire department, helping us bring this bike bus or bike parade all the way from the Coos Bay Library to the Lighthouse School, which is just south of town. So if you're out driving around going to work in the morning, please keep your senses alert and watch for this and lend your support by just being safe. And lastly, I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And I hope you have a great weekend.
Thanks, Carmen. Jacob.
I'll be very short and just say that I really appreciated the visualizations that the city presented to us to see what the front street would look like without poles, and I hope that we continue that in the future.
Stephanie.
I get to enjoy unobstructed views every day out at the airport, so I totally appreciate that. I do want to acknowledge that the public comments regarding our budget means that people are engaged and they're interested in what we're doing and making sure that we're doing our jobs. And so I appreciate people that came tonight to speak to us. I did want to just give a shout out to the Downtown Association, which opens up the Coos Bay Wednesday Coos Bay Farmers Market tomorrow. And there wasn't time to talk about, I believe it is the 25th year. And another point that I wanted to make for the farmers market is that it was voted best farmers market on the coast, the toast to the South Coast. And there's a lot throughout the South Coast, so I think that's a good acknowledgement. The farmer reimbursement through the SNAP program, that is a highly popular thing, and that put $87,000 in farmers' pockets last year, and $69,000 in accessibility to fresh fruits and vegetables. And it has expanded. They ended the season last year with 132 vendors. So they're doing a great job, and if you get a chance, go downtown, walk downtown, take a look around, tell them what you'd like to see. They have an information booth down there. to change downtown, but enjoy these things that we have to bring foot traffic into our downtown area.
Thanks, Stephanie. Lucinda?
I want to thank Greg and the operations team for all the work on the boardwalk. The glass is down, and it looks beautiful. And I know Mayor Benetti reached out to you that council wanted to pay to put flowers in the planters, and so we're working on that. And so thank you for getting those put in place so that we can do that in the coming weeks. And I do also appreciate public comment, and I appreciate people being informed about the budget. I would challenge them to dig a little deeper, though. I think it's easy to throw rocks, and if you don't understand something, come to the meetings, learn or ask questions and begin to understand. We've already talked about the complexity of the budget. There isn't enough money. We're doing the very best we can with the dollars that we have for really little pay as volunteers, giving our time to this community because we love it. And so I would just remind people, if you don't like what you see, well, then get involved and see if you can help affect change. Thanks.
Little pay, are you getting paid? That's something I don't know about. Right, I see that. Troy.
Just a little lighthearted at first. Councilor Stevens is always more succinct and smarter than I am, so I appreciate her clearing me up. And two, I'm glad Carmen didn't have a lot to say. I love you, though. And also, I want to talk to both of you about what your hobbies are if you think the Budget Committee is going to be exciting. So I would like to acknowledge that we've talked about a lot of stuff today, and budgets and finance and businesses and our small businesses that are the fabric of our community and what makes us us. I am not, I believe in free markets and capitalism. I am not opposed to Home Depot in and of itself, but our community doesn't have the population to support it and the smaller businesses, and they would effectually come in and yes, take them over and run them out of business, because we just don't have the volume of people where you can support both of those. And I think our communities were wanting to see us grow and thrive. It would be nice to have that problem, that we could afford to have a Home Depot and a thriving small business community. But we need things to do that, and we need an easier environment. We need our state to be an easier environment for businesses to establish and grow. And then my final pitch on that is the primaries are May 19th. So you got your voters pamphlet, vote. Let's see if we can make some changes at the state level to help our smaller communities grow and prosper.
Thanks,
can we go
Troy.
home now?
You can continue on. And I have a lot of comments too, Carmen, so don't feel like you're the Lone Ranger out there. First of all, again, Clinton came up and, as Councilor Denova said, made some comments, and they're somewhat accurate because he went off the budget, but they don't portray what's really going on. We have an $80 million budget we're going to go through on Thursday, right?
I think the current year is 80. I think we're actually a little bit down,
So
like 72-ish.
what do our property taxes generate?
We get around $7 million of property taxes.
So it doesn't even cover, our property taxes isn't even 10% of our budget. So there's a lot more that goes into this, and so they're getting a lot of value, and we're getting creative, but it's getting difficult. So I really wish any individual, any citizen, Coos Bay, North Bend, I don't care, come and talk to me, and I'll get you my card, Christine, and seriously, I'd love to sit down and talk to you. And if we can find a way to do things better, I'm always open to it. And shop local, I'm always for it. I had a local business that I did for 38 years, and so I totally understand. Urban renewal funds we utilize in different ways that Clinton mentioned, but also we have not helped big box stores. I'll give you an example. Fred Myers asked us for $2 million in urban renewal funds, and we said, no, you can afford it yourself. And because we felt that those funds should be utilized for the small local businesses. And that's what I think we've pretty much done. And so we'll continue to hopefully do that. At least that's my suggestion. And so, also, Greg, I want to talk about the boardwalk. I appreciate you cleaning out the planters. I don't know who's putting the retaining wall in.
The contract was awarded to Papaya Underground, or Papaya Contracting.
Is the city doing it or the port?
The city.
Okay, that's great. It's great to see it happening down there. As I get out and walk around, I'm finding out all kinds of stuff. The other thing, the garbage cans. So I'm just going to say I think they can maybe be done a little bit differently located. We have 2 of those compact garbage cans right at the one boardwalk that you walk down where the restaurant is. There's 2 right next to each other, and I don't understand maybe one should be on the other end. But I'm willing to walk with Nicole and Greg anytime, and we can look and see maybe I'm missing something or whatever. So, the other thing, are those planters have sprinkler systems in them? I see the sprinkler, but are they connected?
No, they're not connected.
Okay. And then we have 2 Rubbermaid garbage cans by the pavilion that we took the class out. Are those ours, or I don't know?
I'll look into that.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Anyway, it's looking a lot better. I thank you for it, and we need to continue. So I think it's great, especially with the summer coming up. So it came up with the Coos Bay Downtown Association about the buildings and the sidewalks and the disrepair and the deteriorating of buildings. And so Rob Crocker has one of them. I think that he needs to be approached and talked about. We need to find a way to make it look better in some fashion. I know that he's dealing with the insurance company, but I know yourself and me, went and talked to the insurance companies, tried to help facilitate this. But in the meantime, it's deplorable what it looks like. And so is there something he can do to make it look better in the meantime and at least clean up the sidewalk and try to help those situations? And also the old Lemon Tree Bakery, I don't know what we can and can't do. I know there's a lot of liens against it, and we moved down that road to try to facilitate that. And my last one is, there's other buildings also out in Empire, but the one that's really I've had an issue with is the American Building. And I have asked our city attorney multiple times to address this. Nicole, you and I both talked to Patty Mulville, who's an attorney for the state, League of Oregon Cities. She had her staff research and give us alternatives, what can be done, and even an attorney that we can come and get some advice from. Again, Nate has been approached about this multiple times, and we have gotten nowhere. So I guess I'm asking for a report back. What can be done? Because it's gone on for years, and we have the American Building deteriorating to the point where we're going to go in and condemn it, and then I don't know what we're going to do with it, because it would be a disaster if we have to try to even do anything with it. So can we get a report back from some kind of answer in maybe the first meeting in June?
Yes.
Thank you. And find out which way we're going to go. I mean, I know there's alternatives because Patty Mulville said they were us, and she sent them to you, I believe, and I think you probably shared that with Nate, and here we sit. I'm sorry, Nate's been a great city attorney, but this has frustrated me to no end, and this building is not being done. So to that end, Sarah at one point in time talked about a vacancy fee, or a fee for these buildings that aren't being done. I know Astoria is moving forward in a fee for their homes, but can't we assist, maybe have this fee be for these vacant buildings, the commercial buildings I'm looking at? And I think we need to have some flexibility here, because, I mean, some buildings are like 999, a perfect example, is actively being tried to get to fill. I don't think they should be penalized, and it looks great. But American Building, the Fletcher Building, and also the Lemon Tree Bakery building. We have buildings out in Empire, same thing, the old cleaners out there. I mean, these just sit there and deteriorate, and they're an atrocious in the city. So, is there something we can do to do this? Put a fee on them to maybe make them move forward a little bit?
Absolutely, and I would say Chelsea's already done a lot of that work for us.
Wow.
We have some draft ordinance to go through and present to you, so I think we're nearly there bringing that forward. We just want to make sure we've covered all the different departments who would be impacted by that work, and can get something probably in June at the latest, I would imagine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll get some information finalizing that, hopefully.
Well, we have so Chelsea already did the research to go out in other communities and get their examples, and so we have a draft ordinance, just kind of trying to vet it through our team.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great.
I would also encourage you to involve the Coos Bay Downtown Association with this, because their Economic Vitality Committee is restructuring for downtown. And they have direct contact between design and economic vitality with the business owners. I would like them to at least be a part of the conversation.
Sure. And to piggyback off that, maybe the Community Coalition of Empire.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Buildings that neck of the wood.
Yep.
Haven't been as long as Carmen?
I don't know, I fell asleep.
Okay. Anyway, also, Carmen mentioned Happy Mother's Day. I just want to reiterate Happy Mother's Day to all the women out there and the mothers that really make things wonderful. And so I enjoy this Mother's Day, everyone, and I'm going to, so we have an executive session. We won't make any final decisions, so I'm going to post, we're not going to adjourn the meeting. We're going to postpone the meeting and come back in and open it back up. So anyway, we'll take a 5-minute break and come back in.
Are we allowed to listen to that part of it? No.
Yeah, you can't stay for the exec session. Yeah, it's not, yes.
So the property transactions is in public?
Exactly, right.
There's that transparency problem again.
Christine, are we staying on the same Zoom?
Yes, we are. City Council will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6602E to discuss real property negotiations. If the council intends to come out of executive session to take final action, the presiding officer should announce when the open session will begin again. Representatives of the news media and designated staff should be allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decisions may be made in executive session.